Tell everybody where you grew up.
I grew up in the city of MONTE, California.
Now, before you jumped off the porch, give everybody an idea of what your upbringing was like.
Yeah, so I grew up in a multi-generational gangbanging family. So, everybody that I looked up to, my dad, my grandfather, everybody, they were gangsters. They were from my neighborhood, from the same neighborhood, from Monte Flores. So I grew up wanting to be that, and it seemed easy, like hell yeah, this is the shit. Like this is what you strive for. This is what we want to do. And everybody around me, they actually had the same ambitions. So it made it easy. We're just a gang of kids who had a lot of trauma in our life, and we just gravitated towards the streets.
Give us the good, the bad, and the ugly about growing up in El Monte.
I'll say that the good is, I wouldn't just say just El Monte, but the good in especially rough areas like that is just the adversity and challenges you face, right? So being able to overcome those challenges and adversity builds character. So because grew up and I had to grow up fast, I had to deal with a lot of situations that if I would have dealt with them later in life may have broken me, right? But because I was so young, I was forced to have to grow. So that adversity and those challenges helped build me up. The bad is that for some reason, everybody in El Monte had a chip on their shoulder, right? Everybody wants to outdo each other, one up each other. And it's cool at the time because, you're with your boys and you're like chest popped out and I don't give a fuck and all that. But when you end up in jail, incarcerated, and you lose your homies, because then that's probably the worst part is losing your homies, having to bury your boys. That's probably gonna be the ugly part. That's the ugliest part of it, having to lose your boys, and also the victims we create. So it's the victims we create and how we victimize ourselves. So and the bad is just everybody thinking that shit's feeding, like that shit's cool, right? Like. And I'm not knocking anybody doing what they do, but understand it's the choices we made. The choices we made put us in places that we're only going to add to the trauma we already felt.
Yeah, and check out Incredible Javier's story on his channel. He has a lot where he goes into his background. He also went into his background on the first interview that him and I did.
Yes,
so I want to fast forward a bit. After you were done with all the bullshit, when did Javier realize gangbanging is for the birds?
You know what? I wouldn't say that there's one particular time, but what I would say is me having my first child let me know that I didn't want them to go through it. So even at that time, it was less about me and what I was going through. It was more about her, and it was more about I don't want her to grow up this way, right? And especially because my first was a female, right? I didn't want her I'm already knowing she's not gonna have any status in the neighborhood. The only thing that's gonna happen is they're gonna see her as an object, right? So it's I don't want that for her. So because of that's when I decided to slowly step back. But even then, I found myself lightly involved in shit that I shouldn't have been involved with until I had my youngest daughter. So I have 2 daughters, 2 sons. My youngest daughter, my youngest child, she was born with cerebral palsy, epilepsy, and global developmental delays. So that's when I knew that my family needed my undivided attention.
Can you talk to us about some of the challenges that you faced as a father with the child with some development issues?
Oh yeah, definitely. There were a lot of about time she was. It was crazy because we didn't know that she was going to be born with any kind of developmental delays or anything really. We just thought it was going to be a regular pregnancy. When she was born with what's called an encephalocele. Part of her skull didn't close up correctly, and you would see brain fluid go in and out of there. So it would sometimes be as small as a pimple and get up to the size of a small golf ball. And we were like, what the fuck is that? And I thought it was a pimple, right? And it took us about 11 months to figure out what it was. After we figured out what it was, then at that point, she had surgery. After the surgery, that's when we found out she had global developmental delays. We found she had epilepsy and cerebral palsy. So there were a lot of challenges. But as I said earlier, growing up in Monte helped me to face adversity. And one thing that I will say that I took from gangbanging is we don't leave our people behind.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah.
Like there were times where somebody pointed a gun, and if one of my homies stood there, I would stay there. Fuck, we'll get killed together, dog. Like that's just the way it is. And if I could do that for my boys, because I loved my boys, I still do. I got love for my boys. And if I could do that for them, then I'm gonna do that for my daughter, right? So my daughter, she needed me there, right? She needed us there. So it's like I'm not leaving her behind. Like that's just the way I grew up. I'm not gonna leave her behind. So I had to change, and there are difficult times because there's situations that could at times be not as usual or typical for other people. She's 12 years old and she's in a diaper still, right? So there's times where we have to go somewhere and we have to bounce quick. She got, you mean? And we don't want her to feel embarrassed. We don't want her to feel, like any less than. So it's difficult. Like there's times where they'll invite us somewhere. Oh, could you go? It's you and your lady could come. It's like, well, that's me, my lady, and my daughter, right? And so I don't get to go out to a lot of spots, but I'm cool with that. Like it doesn't matter to me. Like I'll go anywhere that will allow for my daughter to attend also, and it's difficult too because changing her is crazy, right? It's like we can't just do it just anywhere. Like she's a young woman, so we have to be able to give her that privacy, and be able to help each other out. So we need like family bathrooms and shit like that. So there's a lot that challenges that go with it, but it's so rewarding at the same time. And I always say my daughter taught me way more than I could ever teach her.
You have a video titled "The Time I Went to a Scared Straight Program."
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit about that video?
Yeah, so I was at a junior high alternative school, and it was like the worst kids in 2 districts in El Monte. Oh, there's 3 districts in El Monte, but 2 of them got together, Mountain View School District and the El Monte City School District, and they sent like their most troubled kids to a school called New Beginnings. I think it was only there for like 2-3 years, and they shut that shit down. And one of the things they would do is they would send us to Nellis for a Scared Straight program. And so I went over there with a group of other cats, and when we got there, we just ended up seeing a lot of homies there, from my neighborhood, and they just told us, it ain't shit here, dog, don't worry about it, right? So fuck it. So we didn't really learn anything, and even at the ending, I tried to walk out like I was like my speedman and shit. I was a little kid thinking I'm all hard and shit, and the gang coordinator, Dave Newman, says, "Oh, you think you're hard, huh? You think you're hard? I'm gonna keep you here." He goes, "Stand over there." I remember he told me, "Stand over there." So I stand to the side while everybody else is walking out. So he wants me to see everybody walk out, right? And I'm not flinching because in the back of my mind, I'm already a little hip to certain situations, and I know they don't have me for anything. They can't keep me here like that. Maybe they can keep me overnight, but even if they keep me overnight, I'll just chill with the homies right here. I didn't know that they were going to different cottages, right? So I just like, I'll just chill with the homies. So I ain't really tripping like that. So I was like, whatever, man. Like do what you got to do, because I know you can't keep me here forever. Like I'll chill here, and everybody leaves, and he has me there maybe about 2-3 minutes. He says, "You know what? I'm gonna let you go." I was like, cool. And he goes, "I'm gonna let you. You know why I'm gonna let you go?" And I was like, "Nah, yeah, because I'm gonna see you back here. You're coming back. I know you're coming. I've seen you guys. You're coming back here." And I was honestly in the back of my mind, I was like, this motherfucker's tripping. I'm not doing anything. And I would do that a lot when I was a kid. I would minimize my actions. Like, I'm not that bad. What the fuck you doing? Like, why are you tripping on me? So I was like, this guy's tripping, man. He's full of shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's what I would always say that. They don't know what they're talking about. I always thought I was this smart, brilliant human being. I know what I'm doing. I got this figured out. And so I walked out and I started laughing like, this was lame. Like, he doesn't know shit. And sure enough, maybe about 4 years later, I get to Nellis, and they're like, you got to see the gang coordinator. We got to see the gang coordinator within the first couple of days when you're there. And I walk and I see him, and I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, and I remembered that shit. I'm gonna let you go because you're gonna be back here.
Damn.
And I was like, damn. I never brought it up to him.
Okay.
I don't know if he even remembers
You're
me.
probably just another number.
Yeah, exactly. Just another kid in the batch. But nah, his prophecy came true.
Damn.
And it wasn't a problem. It was more of a like it was an estimate, educated guess.
Yeah,
it was an educated guess. With the data he had in front of him.
Yeah, he's like, this guy's definitely.
It's easy to make that calculation.
If he was in Vegas, he definitely bet on it. Huh?
Yeah.
You know, when I was growing up, they played Scared Straight all the time and shit, like on TV or whatever. Motherfucker, you know, the old 70s version. Was it like that, or was it like where they're all up in your face?
Nah, I'm telling you, we were in the visiting area in Nellis.
Uh-huh.
We were in the visiting area, and they wound up, they basically told their stories, and they did try to get crazy with certain people. But the homies made it a point not to get crazy with us. Because we were, you know, those
gotcha.
We were the young homies. So, and they knew a lot of the girls that were there too. So as they weren't trying to fuck with us, they were fucking with everybody else. And I remember what they would do is they'd be like, where are you from? And somebody would say something, and then they would like stomp to make it seem like that was the disrespect in there, which it wasn't. Like, but that's to them, like, we didn't know anything. So when we said, you know, we're from Monte Flores, they didn't do that. Like, nobody did that. You know what I mean? But when other people say it, they would stomp and shit. And so nah, it really didn't help because there were too many of my homies right there, especially in that program, and they didn't want to scare us or disrespect us, so they just let us kind of. It was just like we're gonna see the homies.
What were some of the events that led you to being locked up in CYA?
Oh, just dumb shit, man, dumb shit. And this is so. There are a lot of things that people talk about, kids chasing clout and shit like that, right? So, kids have always been stupid. And I know this because I was a stupid ass kid. And I did whatever I could to put myself out there, right? Writing your name on the wall. I let the cops know I'm out here. Look at me, right? I'm writing my names on the wall. I'm trying to do the most I can so people talked about me because I wanted that hood reputation. So I shouldn't say only, but I basically got busted for 3 robberies, right? And they weren't even at the same time. They were at different times. Got me for robbery, they would let me go. They got me for another robbery, let me go. They got me for the last robbery. The last robbery, they said, was gang related. I also got busted for dissuading a witness. And then after that, they said, fuck it. Like, the stupidest shit I would do is the cops would come, let me take your picture. Right? Like, because they would have to. They pulled us over and they would write these little report things for every interaction they had with us. And they would do that all the time. Everybody sit on the floor, and one by one, come here. You would stand up, take your picture, write everything down. They already knew who we were, so they already had most of that shit written out, right? And they said, let me take your picture. I'd be like, all right. And then I'd be like, and they'd be like, you sure you want to do that? But fuck yeah, I want to do that, homie.
Damn.
Right? So fucking, like, I'm going to fuck the cops,
I
right?
see where this is going.
Yeah. So it's like that. My attitude back then was fuck the cops. I don't give a fuck, right? Florida's on mine. And what ends up happening is I didn't get busted for the craziest shit. I wasn't in some kind of crazy ass news reporting fucking crime. It was a lot of smaller crimes, and they hit me with that gang enhancement. Boom, get me with a gang enhancement, and then my public defender, who I thought she did a really good job with the shit case they gave her. Like, honestly, I was fucked from the beginning. She says, my defendant, right, did not commit this crime for a criminal street gang. He committed it for himself, right? And then the DA responds with, everything he does is for the benefit of his gang. Cops that had interactions with me, they showed up to testify. Pictures that I had were shown, like, I guess gang paraphernalia, like the hats, the jackets, all that they took. Boom, and they're like, this kid's a fucking gangster. Like this is what he does. This is his life. We need to get him off the streets. And I was just like, damn, they got me, man. And sure enough, that was it. They hit me with a gang enhancement. And that's what sent me to YA. It was the gang enhancement, just for being a jackass knucklehead. So when a lot of kids are out here doing stupid shit on the internet, I could understand why they're doing it, but it's a stupid fucking move. Take it from me, somebody who has got busted for gang enhancements and understands They gonna use that shit against you. You want to make a statement? Fuck no. What happened? I ain't say shit without a lawyer. I'd always say, lawyer, give me a lawyer. But it didn't matter because all the stupid shit I was doing helped them build a case against me anyway. So I could keep my motherfucking mouth shut, but my actions and the stupid shit I was doing let them see. And yeah, they hit me with that shit.
Damn.
I had a homie who got busted with me. He was an adult. He was out within a year. You know what I mean? He was out within a year because he didn't have any of the other stupid shit that I had.
Dude.
Like I did before.
What's the first day like in CYA for an active gang member?
It's really like your adrenaline's pumping. Your adrenaline's pumping. All right. So in the halls, in juvenile hall, especially in LA, I don't know about any other. I can't speak for any other halls, but in LA County juvenile halls, you walk with your hands behind your back. You walk with the assistance of a staff member, and it's like everything is very controlled. When I got to YA, as soon as I got there, I get off the bus, they put me in like a holding cage, and that shit was a trip, man. Like at bars and everything. I'm like, oh fuck, this is some real gangster shit right here, right? And it was a trip because a bus pulled up, LA County Jail. I was like, oh shit, fools are coming from the county. Like this is some real hardcore shit right here. And so fool comes in. I remember Oswald, he walks in. And I was like, I said, where you from, homie? And he's like, from Monte Flores. I was like, oh shit. Like I was like, Monte Flores. So it was my homie little Ralph. He ended up getting 20 years, but he was a minor. And they were holding him in the county. I guess they had the juvenile ward at the time. They're holding him in the county, so he's gonna do a little bit of time at YA before he comes to the adult, and then we'll ship him off to the joint. So like I was just telling this fool, like I'm gonna get my ride off for him. And he was like, man, I'm on some other shit. Boy, I got 20 fucking years, you know what I mean? Like I'll try to see what happens when I get to the joint. I ain't tripping about this YA shit. And so just when you get there, it's like your adrenaline's pumping. Everything that you see like on TV and movies, it's really gangster. Like that shit happens. Like they give you blues. They give you blue pants, like fucking, and no jumpsuits. Like you wear blue pants, give you a pair of shorts, right? You get your own fucking, you got your box, and then you got there, you gotta take a mug shot, boom, with your last name, the first initial. I'm not sure it's your full name, I forgot, but your YA number on the bottom. I was like, oh shit, I got a YA number now. Like that's just crazy. I got a number, right? So just I'm telling you dumb shit that a little kid would think, right? So then I remember when I went to the infirmary to do all that. I'm in the in SR, there's like kind of like infirmary control center kind of thing, right? And then after that, they open the door. They're like, go to your unit. And I was like, oh shit, I wasn't used to walking by myself. So I was like, walking by myself, and they're like, yeah, you ain't a little boy, we're gonna hold your fucking hand. I was like, oh shit, dope, right? So I'm walking through, and there's everybody in SR shares the yard. So everybody shares the yard. So you have a gang of people out there. You can't mingle with other yards, but you could see them, right? So I'm walking through, and I'm just like, man, this is so fucking gangster. I was holding my box. I'm just like, Monte Flores. And I get to the room. So they get to the room, the door opens, and they shut the door. The staff walks away. And I tell her, well, where you from, mommy? The roommate, right? I have a crazy white boy, San Diego. That's I tripped out, like, oh shit, we're in here with everybody from everywhere, right? And I told him, it's Monte Flores, you got a problem with the raza? He's like, nah, I'm good. I was like, all right, cool. And after that, it's a trip because you meet people from everywhere. And that's when I was like, oh, this is the California Youth Authority. This is not the LA Youth. This is California. I catch from IE, from the OC, San Diego, from Oxnard, like all over the place. And when you get to Nellis or your other institutions, that's when you start seeing cats from like Oakland and Sacramento, Hayward, all kinds of places throughout California. So it was a trip, you know. For me, it was just it was exciting, but that quickly becomes stale. Right? At first, it's all new, it's an adventure, but after a while, that shit becomes stale as fuck.
How hard was it for someone from Northern California to be in YA and Whittier? Or was it hard for them?
It depends. If they were, when I was there weren't any Norteños there, right? So that had been something. Events had happened before I even got there that prevented that from happening. So if anyone's from Northern California, it'd be like cats from the Bay, like the Bay Area, um, and they that was amongst like the brothers to handle. That was for them, right? The Bloods and Crips, they didn't trip on the Bay. They're cool, whatever, right? So they handled it their way. So we didn't trip, right? A lot of cats from the Bay were the cool as fuck. Like I'm telling you, these motherfuckers are real cool, and they used to have me cracking up. Like, what up, folks? And they, just the way they did things and the way they joked, and I was just like, man, these motherfuckers are trippy, right? Like, cause I'm not used to. I'm from LA County. So we're used to a certain get down, what up, cuz, what up, blood? You know what I mean? Like we're used to that. So when you see cats from like the Bay Area, they have a whole different way of doing things. It's just a trip, right? So we would just trip out like that. These fools are wild. They're with the shit though. You know, and that's one thing I think a misconception people have, like, oh, we're harder over here, we're harder over. You got riders everywhere, right? You got riders everywhere. So yeah, but and otherwise, for Chicanos, if there were Chicanos from up north, then a lot of times they were Southsiders, right? So and it was cool. Like I knew a gang of Southsiders from up north, upstate Southsiders, and they were cool as fuck. You know, like one of my boys, Travi from Mountain View, cool as fuck. You know, that was the homie right there. So it wasn't nothing like. I'd say it was in a way, it could be a little harder for them at times because a lot of us from certain counties, especially like LA County, we came up with each other. We all knew each other from the halls, from the streets, and from fucking camp or whatever. So they all knew each other. We all knew each other. And if you come from, like, let's say Mountain View, California, and you come to Dallas, it's like, who's this vato? Who knows him? And nobody really knows him, right? So that would be the hard part. The easier part, though, for them would be most of their gangbanging was with Norteños. So if you're from East LA, for example, you have rivals all over the place. So you have a gang of motherfuckers you gotta fight, right? Whereas if you're from somewhere far, you don't really have a lot of people that you have to get down with. But that didn't mean that they didn't, right? Like my boys, they would still get their ride on for different shit. But out the gate, they didn't have to.
You have a video titled Mind Games in CYA. Can you break that one down too?
Yes, CYA was a lot of mind games. A lot. And I won't even say just Nellis. This is everywhere. Everywhere wide. Basso, Preston, OH, YTS, Chad. Everywhere you went, there were mind games. There were cats who were a little bit more sophisticated than other cats, right? And you get something simple. Like, hey, I'm just going to bring something to your attention, right? Like, hey, I seen Dusty do this. And like, let's say for example, I seen him drop the soap real quick, not wash it off, and just start using that shit. What do you think about that, G? Well, I think that's lever. Go tell him. You spoke on it now, right? It's like I just asked you a question, right? I didn't say Dusty was lever, like, right? Like I actually give Dusty the benefit of the doubt. I think I think Dusty's a righteous individual. This fool's over here calling him a lever. Right? So it's like now that cat, if he's with his shit, he's gonna have to get down with Dusty, and he's gonna have to get down with you for putting him on the spot, right? And there's other things where they'll bag you up. They're gonna go in there and they're gonna take your shit, and they want to see what you're gonna do. A lot of times they're gonna see, and why they're gonna see how much they can get away with. They're gonna try to push you, and until they can't anymore, until you push back, or until you just tap out, and then they're done. Game's over. Fuck this guy. He's fucking lame. He's a square. Let's just take his shit and do all that, right? So there's a lot of mind games on there. A lot of things. You have to watch what you say. You have to watch how you act. And there's a lot of favoritism. So if you've been there for a while, you could get away with a lot more than somebody who just rose up. They'll shoot at you. Like, there's so much going on. It's all in the mind, though. It's all in the mind a lot of the times. But it sucks because you're catching time at the same time. So it's like, I'm going to be down for mine. I ain't going out like that. All right, cool, but good luck going home. You ain't going home. And that's one thing you can't do when you're in Y. Worry about going home. Yeah, just don't worry about that shit. I'll get home when I get home.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot of mind games. A lot of just people trying to see where you're at, what they can get away with. There's a lot of, like, coattail riding motherfuckers. There were a lot of them. A lot of cats who seen Dusty was the big dog, right? So I'm gonna chill with Dusty. Oh, what's up, Dusty? It's like you're just chilling with Dusty because you know he got a little something, right? And Dusty at that point will have the opportunity to tell you, hey, go do this, go do that. You're gonna do it because you want to please Dusty and shit. You want to make sure that you're still on his good side, right? So you have a lot of cats who will take advantage of that. You have a lot of other cats who just be like, fuck that shit, I'm gonna do my own thing. And it's all, like I said, it's all in the mind. There's a lot going on where you have to just kind of know. You have to know, I know where this is going. And boom, that's the main thing. The main thing is just as soon as you have a feeling where it's going, and you know, like, don't explain shit. Don't try to explain yourself. Don't back yourself into a corner. Back then, the best thing to do is just take flight. Just take flight and talk about it after. And then it's better that you got down with him and you guys have a civil discussion afterwards. Like, oh, I thought you were trying to do this. Oh, my bad, G. No, I was just trying to do this. All right, cool. It's better to have that discussion than him saying, I did this, I did this, I did this, and he didn't react. Right? Because now you're going to have to, if he has people on his side, what's going to happen is you're going to have all those cats coming around. That's just leva. That's just leva. That's just leva. Next thing you know, instead of you just getting down with this one guy, now you have to get down with 6 or 7 guys. And it's like, just handle that shit from the beginning. If you felt a certain way, just swing. That's what I always thought. I'm not gonna take any chances. Fuck it, I'm swinging, and that's it.
If you could talk to a kid right now who is contemplating joining a gang, he hasn't joined yet, but he's headed in every direction that's going to lead him there, what advice would you give him?
Honestly, I would just want to hear his story. What's your family life like at home? What are your living circumstances, right? And that will allow me to understand why he's doing what he's doing. And at that point, I could let him know, like, dog, you're acting out because of this, or you're doing this. This is what's hurting you, right? You're attracted to the streets because of this. So I think a lot of the times what happens is we think we have the answers for these kids. Every child is unique and every circumstance is unique, right? There are a lot of different variables that go into somebody's background. So what I think a lot of times what I would want to do is hear him out, hear her out. What are you trying to tell us? Because when they're joining a gang, they're trying to tell you something. They're telling you, I am hurt. I've been through trauma. There's this, I don't like the way life is going right now. So I want to hear that. Why? Why is that happening? And then once you hear it, then you could try to help them out and deal with that shit. And it's unfortunate because a lot of the times it's the household is fucked up and it's generational, right? Their parents didn't know how to raise them, and then their parents didn't know, and then now next thing you know, they're dealing with the consequences of generational fucking trauma and just generational failures and shit. So it's fucked up. But the main thing I'd want to do is ask them what's going on, what's bothering them, not directly, but how's your life at home? And I guarantee those motherfuckers, they're gonna start. They want to talk, right? Maybe at first they're gonna be kind of guarded. Once you break through that, they're gonna want it. They're gonna want to let their story be known. And after that, what excites you? What creatively or what are you interested in? I'm not talking about the streets. What do you want to do? Like if you could do anything right now, what would it be? I'll be in the hood. Nah, fuck all that. What do you really want to do? They'll let you know. Everybody has dreams. Those dreams just get stomped out. So the main thing I want to do is just figure out what's bothering them and what do they really want to do, and then take it from there.
That's deep, homie. What's the number one problem in the hood?
Number one problem is I would say the lack of resources, and there's not a lot. And this is the thing. This is what I want everybody to understand. Is that I'm not saying, oh, poor me. If I'd have had more resources, maybe I don't fucking know. Maybe if I had more resources, things would have been different. But I didn't. So, that's no excuse for me to act the way I acted, right? I acted the way I acted, and I dealt with the consequences. And I think that there is so much to be learned by these children out there that are hurting, that people just want to have a simple solution. Lock them up. Fuck it. Or what you're going to do, and what people don't realize, is that most of the people that get busted get out, what kind of people do you want getting back out? Do you want people that are continue? Remember this. When they victimize people, they're creating victims. So these are people that they're hurting, right? And if we can figure out a way to stop people from hurting other people, wouldn't you rather have that than to just say, oh, let them get out and try this shit again? And for those people to be like, lock them up forever. Hey, there's laws, there's constitution, there's a constitution. People have the right to to the Fourth Amendment, to the First Amendment. There's a lot of rights that people have. Fifth Amendment. So you can't just lock somebody up because you think they're gonna do something. They have to actually commit a crime, right? So if they serve their time and get out, what kind of person do you want returning back to the street? So that's my main thing, is trying to prevent this from happening. I think the main thing is, and I'm not talking about no flowery language, oh, let's all hug and this. Nah, I'm saying like we need to figure this shit out. What is bothering these kids? And how can we stop this from happening again? And let them see that there are opportunities out there. And I think that's one of the main things right there. A lack of insight. We have a lack of insight. We can't see further than our block. We can't see further than our town, because that's all we see. What does success look like? I got no fucking idea what success looks like, but I could tell you how I'm gonna get my gangbang on, right? So it's like we have to be able to show these kids that there is something outside of here. And I told this kid one time, like, he liked girls. Obviously, young kids are always, they love girls, right? Like, yeah, hell yeah. So I told him, why would you just be stuck with these girls here, right? Homies are gonna run through them. Like, it is what it is, right? And the same thing goes for you young females out there. Why just stick with these guys out there in the block? That you guys all gonna share the same people over and over, or maybe go to a city or two down? I told the little homie, right? Why not jump on a plane and go meet up with one of your girls in France? Meet up with one of your girls in Japan? Because that's possible, dog. That's possible. You can't do it? Yeah, you could. That doesn't take much. You don't have to be a millionaire to catch a flight and get a fucking and get a hotel in France. And that takes thousands of dollars, not millions. That shit's obtainable, right? And then that's what people don't understand, is that I can't do that. You could do that. You don't have to be a millionaire. You just have to be wise in how you spend your money and how you make your money. You mean, if you're doing drugs, the cops are gonna come after you. But if you're working hard and you save to get a trip to France, and you end up meeting a chick out there, maybe you meet up with her every couple of months. Tell me that's just not dope. Tell me it's not dope to have, I'm gonna jump on a plane, see one of my shorties out there in France. Come on, dog. That's some G shit right there. But cats ain't thinking beyond the hood. And I think that's the main problem right there. Now I think about it, just not being able to have that insight to see what's really out there. The world seems so small, but they're making it smaller than what it really is. Because the world is accessible. Like I said, it only takes a few $1,000s to get to France, have a hotel room, and buy a few drinks for girls out there. It doesn't have to be France, it could be anywhere, right? And it's like, that's all you need. So I think we can't see. But once we see it, then you see homies living their life, and that's the way to do it. We get captured by psychopathic bastards as cultural disaster, and ain't the same math to become blind to what the system is designed. Every time we're confined, it's just a waste of time. Yo, locked doors and violent race wars. We tend to ignore that there's always something more. Becomes tradition. Going to jail was the mission. Since children we envision being a top dog in prison. It's domination. They control the population. No rehabilitation. Just anger and frustration. We get hassled and handled like assholes. Beat down and tackled. Chained up and shackled. They say it's laughable every time we stab a foe. Acting just like animals. They sit around and stack the dough with just numerals. Statistics and funerals. Don't act like you don't know, cause this ain't unusual. They want cooperation. Now talk to the cops. Cuffed up at the station, now talk to the cops. They asked me for a statement, now talk to the cops. You got me mistaken, I don't talk to the cops.
Tell everybody where they can find you, man.
You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/IncredibleJavier, Instagram @IncredibleJavier, and on TikTok @IncredibleJavier without the R's. I guess Incredible Hobby.
You have a lot of ventures coming up, dude, aside from what you've been doing.
Yes,
what's up with that animated series, Travisos?
Travisos, the animated series, every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. It's just a story that I wanted to be creative, right? So they label us as content creators, right? So I really wanted to focus on that creator side of it. right? Not to shit on anyone, but I I do things that other people do also, right? Like interviews. Yeah, a lot of people interview, right? A lot of people are better at me than interview. Like I do a lot of different things that other panel discussions. A lot of people do that, right? So I want to do something that was different. Like what aren't a lot of other channels doing? And I said I do skits. I did skits a lot already.
Mm-hmm.
I said I'm gonna do skits, and I said I'm gonna start doing a series, whether it was live action, animated, or comic. I wasn't sure about that, but then I kind of seen how easy it was these days to do an animated series, and I said this is something that's gonna be specifically owned like by me and by my channel. This is my channel's thing. This is the Nasty Crew's thing, right? So I said, I'm gonna go for it because this is my content. This is my creation. And so that I just inspired by being creative. I just wanted to be creative with it, and I want to use the resources I have and the knowledge that I have to build something. So I don't want to stick around. And I was talking the other day, like I don't want to sit around and wait for these large companies to try to invest in me,
Mm-hmm.
or wait for somebody to come and throw me a landline, because it ain't gonna happen. Nobody's coming for you if you don't force people to watch you. If you don't force people to look at you. So that's when I said, I'm gonna do this shit on my own. Like fuck it. It may not be the best quality. It may not be top notch animation, but the story is there. The animation is. I think it's pretty dope. I think it's pretty cool. Like oh shit, it looks different. It's unique, and it's brutal at times. At times it's brutal. At other times it's funny. And there's at other times it's just a message. It's like oh shit. And for a lot of people it's reminiscing. It's what we lived. And I always say this, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but people are indifferent to our struggle. It's not that they don't care. It's not that they care. It's they're indifferent. Either way, they're going to continue living their life.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to get up out the mud, we're gonna have to do it ourselves. Because nobody's gonna try to say, oh, look at those guys drowning out there. Like they're gonna be like, oh shit, I gotta keep moving on mine. And so if we want to help build each other up, then we have to build ourselves up. And that's the way I look at it. It's like I'm gonna try to do what I can to get myself to a position where I can help other people, because I know what the struggle is. And I'm not the kind of person where I'm gonna be like, oh, once I get there, you figure it out. Like, nah, I'm gonna try to get there and tell you the easier way. That's why I tell everybody, like, be creative with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't just think it's just this. My channel started off with me on a Samsung phone talking about things that I've been through. Now I got so much more going on, and there's so much more to do. And that's what I want everybody to kind of do is like make your channel personality, like a little bit of your personality, right? Like show different sides of you, and be creative with it. And I think that's the main thing. Be creative. Start a series, even if it's not an animated series. I'm not good at drawing. Well, fucking do a movie, like a movie script. Do a movie series. Do a YouTube TV kind of series, kind of thing. Like do something that you can be invested in, and just be like, fuck it, I'm gonna move forward with it and watch that shit grow.
What inspired the name Incredible Javier?
So going back to when we walked in, you walk in, you see the wrestling figures.
Were you a wrestling fan growing up? I think we talked about that.
I still am.
I'm a huge wrestling fan, dude. Attitude, way before the Attitude Era.
Over there, I still got the new AEW action figures.
Oh,
right
nice.
There. I got MJF, who I think is gonna be
See,
the next.
we got Ted DiBiase, got Mark Henry, Undertaker,
And still in the package, I got AEW's,
Rey Mysterio.
AEW's Britt Baker, who I think she's gonna be a huge star real soon. And then MJF, who also AEW is gonna be a huge star.
So AEW is the one that's rivaling WWE, I'm hearing, right? Nice. Yeah, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I think 87. And my first match, my stepdad took me to WrestleMania 2. But it was closed captioned in LA, and it was on a big screen. And it was King Kong Bundy versus Hulk Hogan.
All right, yeah.
Never forget that shit. I knew it.
When I was a kid, we didn't really have a lot of money for name brand wrestling action figures, and that's probably a lot of what I have. But what I have is because I didn't have the chance to. And I'm not knocking my parents.
Had to swap meet action figures.
Yeah, exactly.
Arm broke off after 3 days.
Exactly, yeah. And because of that, because of swap meet action figures, we didn't want to say this is Hulk Hogan. Like, this ain't Hulk Hogan. This is somebody else, right? This is my own guy.
Nice.
And one of the characters I created was Incredible Javier. And also when I'd wrestle with the kids, I would my brothers and sisters, I would wrestle under the name Incredible Javier. I actually ended up changing it later when I got a little older to the Dope Man, and I had a cool finisher too and everything. Dope Fiend Killer was the name of the finisher I had.
Love it.
But yeah, Incredible Javier. So when I was on this show called Revenge Body with Khloe Kardashian, they gave me a robe, and they needed to write something in the back of the robe. What should we write? What should we write? And I didn't know. What should I write? What should I write? And I said, I'm gonna go into a ring, because I ended it by boxing. So I'm gonna go into a ring. My dream is always to walk through that fucking curtain. Here comes Incredible Javier. So I said, put Incredible Javier. And they're like, I like that. So it was a trip. You know, the announcer, now coming from El Monte, California, Incredible Javier. I fucking opened up the curtains and fucking walked to the ring. And yeah, so after that, I just stuck with it. Like, that's just dope. You know, when I started a YouTube channel, I needed a name. So I said, fuck it, I'm going to go with Incredible Javier.
What inspired your channel, and are you still going by the same mission statement or inspiration that you had when you started your channel nowadays?
Yeah, so what inspired my channel was when I was on that show, I had to vlog every day. And that was something that was strange to me, because growing up, we could never talk on camera. That wasn't something we did. There were a lot of things we couldn't speak about. And it was a trip, because they would always tell me, like, the producers would get on me. Javier, we need more vlogs. Javier, we need more vlogs. Javier, you need to vlog. And I would try to get away with not vlogging, but they would start like, dog, you signed up for this, get your ass on that camera, right? So I was like, all right, cool. So I started vlogging, and I actually got real comfortable with it and got used to it. And when the camera stopped rolling, it's like, oh shit, I still wanted to kind of vlog. So I just said, fuck it. Like I said earlier, I picked up a Samsung phone, broken ass phone, and just started doing the first couple of videos off of that. And I eventually upgraded to an iPhone SE. And then from there I got the cameras, and then the green screen, or the wall, the green screen, and now it's where it's at. And yeah, the message has always been the same. It's about growth, it's about positivity. And I think the channel even shows a lot of growth. Just within the channel itself, it has grown tremendously. And I think it's going to continue to grow. And the day I stop growing is probably the day I die.
Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little bit of peace, steady job and some food to eat. Just give me a little bit of peace.